All right, and we're back. It's Community Radio Show on News Talk 990. Numbers to call 788-0990. We were talking about, what were we talking about? We're
sorry, talking about
man.
Selvin
Brain just stopped.
Running out the store.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we're talking about I guess views of Muslims in public. Specifically, I guess if you've had a instance where you've seen a Muslim in full covering, and how did it make you feel, or did you have a problem with it, or did it trigger a panic attack, or what? We had an interesting story from our engineer just now where you just want to push that button, man.
Yeah, man. Let's get to. I want to hear.
Okay, all right. We
so
got
we're going to,
Anarilio.
Did we get that right?
On the line.
This is the other way around. I used to live in New York for almost 6 years.
Okay.
And from January 2001 until November 2006.
Okay.
And since it happened with the World Trade Center, there were people looking in the paper, and in the papers, people saw pictures of males who were accused for terrorism. So when I was looking at the pictures in the newspapers, these males were almost looking like me. So people will look at me, especially when I had a backpack, when I was in public a lot. Mm-hmm. People will look at me in a prejudiced way. They thought I'm trying to bomb the subway or the public places. And not only a lot of white people were looking at me in a prejudiced way, but also a lot of people look Latino, Asians, and a lot of black people. And that is one of the reasons why I left New York. Because,
and where are you? I don't mean to cut you off, but a question for you: where are you originally? What's your ethnic background?
I was born and raised in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And my dad is from Suriname, and my mom is from Curaçao.
Okay.
And I'm actually multiracial, but if you ever get a chance to meet each other, you will probably think that I speak Spanish, or you probably think that I speak Arabic. I mean, that is how it. That is from my experience the way how people approach me. So I look Arab, or Arab, Muslim, whatever, and or I look Latino. It depends which strangers approach me.
Gotcha.
So it depends. It depends on which stereotype people want to throw on you. There's a couple of them that they can pick from, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Wow, you got the worst end of the stick there.
Yeah.
but we understand what you're saying. So basically, from having that pressure from society, always kind of having a skeptical demeanor, and even just the looks. I mean, I could understand really if I came out every day and everybody was staring at me like there was something wrong. Right. I might be feel forced to move from that environment also. So I mean, in that respect, it's a pretty serious thing. Now, did you ever get approached and you were like actually asked, hey, what are you doing, or where are you from, or somebody actually questioned you or what you were doing, or anything like that?
Yeah. The doormans. I used to work. Advertise for a locksmith company. Was putting flyers on people's door in Brooklyn and Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And but when I was finished, people look at me. But the doormans were asking me where I'm from, and I just said, I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. But other than that, it's I don't know. Maybe I almost could say I know what the Muslims or Arabs, whatever, feel like, because the people who were looking at me like they think, wait a minute, they look at me in a way like I'm anti-American, trying to bomb the train or wherever I am, And when I see a black person, well, my biological brother is black, and my wife is African American.
Okay.
But what I was trying to say, when a black person was looking at me in New York City, I was thinking like, wait a minute, why are you looking at me? That way, I don't say anything when people look at me, but especially when a black person was looking at me in a prejudiced way, I said, what, this is
We've been through that already, so
right,
we should have a better understanding, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of hypocrite because there are some black people still complaining about prejudice in New York City. So to me, it's like it's hypocritical, you know.
Right.
Well, really wanted to thank you for calling and sharing that experience.
Definitely appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. You know, it's somebody that really has no affiliation, just because there's that possibility that maybe you're in a region that, you know, it's been, you know, talked about in that negative way. Well, we're gonna kind of give you that look too, to the point that he had to leave. He is like, I can't deal with this.
That's
anymore,
why, yeah, and this is a perfect example of kind of the false sense of security and frankly the stupidity behind the notion, the push towards, you know, quote unquote racial profiling.
Right, but I think the biggest thing that he said was that he was looking at like he was un-American. So then we have to ask, okay, well, what does American
look like?
You know, what does American look like? Because last time I checked, you know, is the quote unquote melting pot, you know. So that means we're in a hodgepodge of people that look different ways, that are from different places. Now, are we getting to a point where we're gonna limit, you know, what the American standard is, you know, to make you American or not American, you know, and that's really interesting. And now this guy, you know, I'm sure he didn't have his face covered or anything like that. I mean,
but he's still getting
that
because
same
that precondition
right.
that people think.
So
you know, particularly coming from other minority groups
right.
that have
some of
way.
the same issues. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
You know,
right.
Which I think when Selvin and I were talking is that we have this false sense that other minority groups don't feel this way towards Muslims because, you know, they're minorities. They've felt, you know, they've been stereotyped and stuff. But that's not actually true, because if other people don't have any other groups, whatever they are, if they don't have any interaction with people from different groups, the only source that they get is from the news.
Right.
If you don't work with a diverse group, or if they're not in your social circle or
right.
you know, your place of worship, where do you learn about it? You learn about it on television.
Right.
You know?
And I think that's probably the biggest factor, is that there isn't that interaction, you know, even within the communities, you know, that you have all of these different types of people, but either you choose to kind of, you know, stay within your own, you know, right. your own cultural, you know, what's the word?
Makeup, or your social circle?
Yeah, your own social circle, you know, really is made up of people that have your type of background, or have your type of profession, or have your type of, you know, cultural or religious background. You know, instead of reaching out and talking to different people and associating with different people. I think that's, I mean, I know for me growing up, because we were talking, being I was the only Muslim that was in, you know, my school system, you know, I had to talk with, you know, other people that really had not had any exposure to a Muslim at all, you know. So I think for a lot of people, by having that interaction, they were able to learn and get to understanding certain types of things about, you know, the religious, you know, side of things. Now, granted, I'm black, so, you know, I mean, it's, you know, there wasn't nothing special there. But just the fact that my belief system was different than what they were used to, that opened up a lot of, you know, minds. Even to this day, a lot of my friends that, you know, I still associate with, you know, they are a lot more comfortable, you know, with people. Like, even like when I was riding, when I had my motorcycle, you know, I was like, hey, look, I was going to stop off at the masjid and make salat real quick. You know, I may have, you know, maybe 3 or 4, you know, guys that aren't Muslim that may be riding with me that day, and they come to the masjid, you know, and
it wasn't something odd for them.
No, they just like, okay, he's going to go pray, you know what I'm saying? So that, you know, that's what it was, you know, so. But, you know, if you don't have that interaction, then you don't find that comfort zone, because you can't really define what this person is outside of the definition of a particular race or a particular culture. You know, when it's given to you in a negative way, you know, there's nothing to offset, you know, right. that imbalance.
Or this notion that because of the fact that you decided to take time away from that, entertainment activity or that recreation activity to go pray,
right?
And that somehow that makes you less of an American, because, you know, or that you know, we as Christians go to church on Sunday, and then there aren't any other kind of religious activities during the day that we have to go to, things like that. But yet for Muslims, there are things that we have to do as far as practice, and somehow that makes us less American because we uphold our faith. So it kind of goes back to the whole notion of what is it to
or even for the fact that, hey, is your faith is not necessarily, can't really be tied to, like, say, the founding fathers. Some people would say that, but even early presidents still acknowledge Islam, because you got to understand, Islam did come over with a lot of the slaves. Heck, even if you look at Roots, the movie, remember when he was talking to the butterfly? He was making a prayer. He actually referenced Allah. So you got to understand that Islamic has a long heritage in America. It's just not on the same playing field as is viewed now. Because now when you hear Islam, you think Middle East. You know what I'm saying? But Islam has a lot of ties with Africa and African culture, and that's been here for a long time. Right. So it's really, like I said, the education part is very, important, along with the interactive part, Yeah,
I mean, the Quran that Keith Ellis used to take the oath of office was Thomas Jefferson's Quran. And when he was Secretary of State, he was assigned to France. And if you kind of go back to 200 or so years ago, there's a heavy influence of the Muslim culture within Europe that we discussed last week. But
I wanted to jump in and just say,
jump, baby, jump.
How for the people that are listening to your show today, and that have been listening, they are loyal WLEE listeners. This is a show with a different perspective. How can, if they're not exposed to the culture, like, this is one of those shows that they need to listen to, because it's different perspective. And like I was saying before, there's I don't think there's anything right now that exposes everybody else to learn about the culture.
Correct. It's kind of hard for someone.
I just want to throw that in too, because I know you were wanting to.
Yeah, no, thanks. You've got our salesman, man. Why don't we just give him the pitch? No, that's a very good point. Thanks for bringing that up. And that part of the reason I approached WLEE and asked them to do this show was because going back to 9/11, they were the first station that immediately called me back and were willing to give me an entire afternoon show for us to state our positions about Islam and what happened and things like that. So I've always appreciated that. I always remembered what they had done for that, and the fact that they were willing to work with us to get the show on there means how much they're willing to get the message out. And so this is an avenue to do that, because frankly, for Muslims, it's very hard. I mean, think about it. If you're out there, you really think that someone is just going to look up a mosque and just show up at a mosque and ask about, hey, I'm here, I want to know about Islam. That's not really going to happen. So this is a great vehicle to introduce the listeners of WLEE to what the Muslim culture is, what the Islamic culture is, the differences between them, and that, how all Muslims are not Arab and all Arabs aren't Muslim. And no, not all terrorists are Muslims.
Right.
So please, we need we record the shows, we put them on YouTube, but more importantly, we need the listeners to support the advertisers, and also to contribute monetarily, so we can keep up the show and continue it.
So if you do want to donate or anything like that, you can go to tinyurl.com/ourvoicenow, and you can donate $5, $10, 230,000. It's all up to you.
$1.5 million.
Yeah, $1.5 million. But also you can hit us up on you can send questions to our our Facebook page. It's Community Radio Show. So
Yeah, and I want to really thank Selvin for opening up and telling us that story. And Emilio,
I'd like to thank our callers also for the input. But yeah, so
that was a fast hour. I'm telling you, we need 2 hours, man. We need at least 2 hours. 2 hours to go. So
we need a dedicated radio station.
To the Community Radio Show on WLEE News Talk 990. Want to thank our listeners and thank our callers for calling this week, and please
Can't
hit
get
us
it
up.
out, can you?
I can't. I'm just thanks.
We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Y'all be safe out there. Peace.
Bye.